It's going to take us a few more months here. Mayor Guard has really been taking the lead on working with our allies in Camas as well as the port in regards to economic development and starting that ball rolling. So by the time we have tilled up the ground with all of this policy stuff, the two should be working together in good fashion. So anyway, just be patient. We are working towards getting more commercial, more businesses in this area, but it's going to take going through and really turning the ground to get them ready to come in. So just want to pass that along.
Thank you. I would just add to that economic development is a process of years, not months. And that the purpose of this resolution, which the public hearing will be about, was it was an attempt to force all commercial growth into a very narrow area. And we don't, at this point, see that that's a useful constraint. That's it.
Michael?
Adding on to that comment, I agree that forcing economic development to a small area doesn't work, and that's the very embodiment of the statement, central planning doesn't work.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda Bill 25-10, repeal of Washougal Municipal Code 10.34, the commute trip reduction, and adopt the commute trip reduction plan in interlocal agreement with Vancouver, Camas, Washougal, and Clark County.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mayor,
Evers.
council members. Staff is submitting updates to the commute trip reduction CTR section of Municipal Code 1034. This matter was introduced by Mitch Knipe in September 2009 and was followed up by Jan Bowers and Matt Ransom from the City of Vancouver Commute Trip Reduction Program at Council Workshop on February 22nd. Included in that was also some email correspondence, question and answer to and from council members from Jan. The findings and definitions have been expanded, clarified, and restructured into a more efficient format. As there are extensive and comprehensive changes made throughout Section 1034, it is the City Attorney's recommendation that 1034 be repealed and the rewritten Section 1035 be adopted. Additionally, staff is submitting the interlocal agreement for commute trip reduction with the cities of Vancouver, Camas, and Washougal, as well as Clark County. Purpose of this agreement is to establish and maintain a mechanism for ensuring compliance with the CTR laws, enable all parties to meet statutory requirements by the applicable deadlines, and provide definition and coordination of the tasks each party of the agreement will be responsible for achieving. The recommended action this evening is to read by ordinance only, pass, post, and publish in the usual manner, authorize the mayor to sign the Clark County interlocal agreement for CTR when it becomes available.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we read the ordinance by title only.
Second.
Second.
Questions? Councilman Shoemaker?
Is it possible to break this into two resolutions? One is to invalidate the old.
Point of order, the resolution on the
Excuse me,
floor.
I'm asking the mayor a question here.
Point of
He's in
order.
charge of the
It's a
organization.
point of order. The motion on the floor is to read the ordinance by title only.
And my question was, a parliamentary inquiry, which is appropriate at this time. I'm waiting for the mayor's response. Mr. Mayor?
I believe he'd be correct.
Actually, I would think that the problem with just repealing is if we break it into two motions, there is the question of whether or not we are going to end up with no code versus just a straight swap. This basically is substituting this code for the existing code. And if we take no action tonight, the existing code should remain, basically. So I think it would be, from my understanding, it would probably be inappropriate to split into two motions. That's my understanding for the intent of what we're trying to do tonight.
I think it could be split into two, but you do have a potential problem of having no commute trip reduction material that's required by state statute. So that's a potential problem. Otherwise, I'd say you could repeal in one ordinance and then adopt in another ordinance. But I've got it all together in one as it's been proposed.
I gather that's a no.
Sounds like a no to me.
Thank you. Thank you, Don.
I've got a motion and a second to read the ordinance by title only. Any other questions from council members? Yes, Jennifer.
I actually just want to make a few general CTR comments. First of all, I feel the need to say something positive about this issue. I'm very pleased that some monies have become available at the state level to help fund this mandated program. I'm also pleased that Washougal will be cooperating with other entities as a member of an interlocal agreement with the City of Vancouver, Clark County, and the City of Camas to acquire these funds, as there are costs involved in implementing the CTR program. However, I do believe that it places an added unnecessary burden on businesses in our state to implement, monitor, and report on this program. When I look at a program like this and see words like enforcement authority, requirements, record keeping, and penalties, I inwardly cringe. For our government to step into the middle of our private workplaces and require that employers encourage and then be responsible for offering alternatives for workers' commutes seems to be stepping over a line in my personal opinion. Hence, we have the Growth Management Act, the accompanying laws which support it, and one of the trickle-down programs known as the Commute Trip Reduction Plan. Opinions aside, complying with the CTR program is necessary under the Growth Management Act of the State of Washington, which is a law. The GMA was passed into law by our state legislators, and personal views aside, I took an oath to uphold the laws and the Constitution of the State of Washington. And so even though I would personally like to see less of these required mandates forced upon our private businesses, I will be voting in favor of adopting the CTR plan and interlocal agreement this evening.
Mr. Shoemaker.
In rebuttal, I understand my colleagues' concerns, especially the mandate by the state. I took the trouble to find the CTR report to the Washington State Legislature for 2009. I don't commit it to your attention because it's detailed and it's rather biased, one-sided. In the executive summary, it says that CTR works. And it talks about the creation of Growth and Transportation Efficiency Centers, GTECs. That's a fancy word for a dense urban area like Seattle. And it says that GTECs were about 9 times more successful than other CTR sites. That's understandable. They've got more to reduce. They talk about increasing performance and reducing 12,900 hours of delay in the central Puget Sound region. That's where this program is focused. It doesn't do much for Washougal. In fact, even up there, what they've accomplished would be far less than what adding a single freeway lane through the area would accomplish in reducing carbon output, delays, and that sort of thing. It talks about the benefits that it provides, and it talks about providing an employee benefit. And I'm trying to figure out how reducing an employee's mobility is